Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the possible monster exchange options in the Valentine's rare machine. So, unfortunately, this video is a tiny bit late, but there are still several days left to actually make this trade. And I feel like at this point in time, there are two notable cards that I feel like are worth monster exchanging for. Now, when it comes to monster exchanging, I am always under the belief that you should never get rid of your last two copies of a given card. And I say two copies nowadays because at this point in time, Gung Ho loves to give split evolutions, multiple different evolutions, many different options for the same given card. And you never know exactly who is going to be quite so valuable, especially with multiple duplicate forms. So, because of that in mind, I like to keep two copies of a given card. Now, for the possible monster exchange options, Ideal is unfortunately not the ideal choice. Like, she's not a bad card by any means. If I rolled her, I'll be obviously happy, but I don't think it's worth 5-7-star Godfest exclusives. But on the other hand, I honestly believe that Akine is worthwhile, and it's because she has this beautiful green-red form. I actually have one Akine, which I don't recall how I got it. Maybe I rolled it, maybe I monster exchanged before. I don't recall, but point of the matter is I have her, I use her quite often, and with the latest buff she received, she's actually quite meaningful. So why is she so useful? Well, she has this active skill on an 18-turn cooldown, but it's realistically a 6-turn cooldown, because with this skill charge plus, you're able to basically give 2 turns of personal haste plus the 1 turn of actually matching orbs, and thus dividing 18 by 3 equals 6 turns. So you have essentially a 50% uptime on your damage and attribute absorption cancellation. And at this point in time, you need to have damage and attribute absorb cancellation. There's just no way around it. You need to have it because, well, almost every single dungeon nowadays is going to feature that type of mechanic. So you need a competent card to deal with it, and it's going to charge up fast with Akine. It's 3 turns, which is long lasting. It's going to help ensure that back-to-back spawns are adequately dealt with. But in addition to all of that, her awakenings have actually been significantly buffed. She now has double 10 combo and a single 4 attribute awakening, and through her super awakenings you can either gain any of the super resists, which is obviously quite delicious, cloud resist, tape resist, or another 4 attribute awakening. And with that extra 4 attribute awakening in conjunction with the previous one and 2 10 combos, that is about 300 plus times personal damage. That is actually a sizable amount. She can actually deal meaningful amounts of damage, which is obviously going to be helpful. And then if you throw in this TPA, you are going to have even more spectacular damage output for that matched TPA element. So she can have the potential to deal significant amounts of damage. She has an invaluable active skill that you really just need to have basically in any given dungeon. 4 skill boosts, guard break to, ignore the high defense values of many different spawns, and with that double TPA, maybe you can make some arguments that she could take the unmatchable latent, which in turn means she could clear 2 turns of unmatchable. May not be reliable enough depending on the dungeon you're playing through, but hey, it's a possibility. But point of the matter is, she's a hard-hitting card with 4 skill boosts, a great active skill. She doesn't come with any time extend nor skill bind resist, so obviously make sure you have appropriate solutions for those type of awakenings on your other cards. But point of the matter is, I think she is a strong card, and in her green-red form, I find she is the best because the offensive awakenings are incredibly high, and the color coverage is quite nice. For myself personally, I tend to find red to be the most awkward color to cover for at least my given monster boxes for rainbow-based teams. It's either like Beach Mariel or maybe like Akine. Like, I feel like those are kind of the 2 absorption solutions I tend to gravitate more towards at this point in time. So they cover red, makes life much easier overall. Now, if you don't like rainbow-based teams, or you already have a strong solution for your attribute and damage absorption cancellation needs, you may want to look into Valentine's Alynna. So Alynna in her red form is not particularly exciting. Like, you can make some arguments that sure, like some 7 combos, what year is this? Like, 7 combos have really been outdated so painfully because everything can hit 10 combos with relative ease. So not really much personal damage, does have large amounts of healing potential. It is a 5-turn cooldown that gives you 6 fire orbs without taking away wood or hearts, which I guess is pretty nice if you play those mono fire teams. But at this point in time, I feel like Cammy is just a better choice. Now, with that that being said, her dark form is actually most exciting. And for myself, I actually monster exchanged for Alynna earlier on at some point in time, and I did so with many duplicates of these 7-star Godfest exclusives. I have excessive amounts of these particular cards, so I thought, what's the point of keeping like 5 or 6 Athenas? Why not just convert them into something valuable and cute? And it's, in all honesty, her dark form that is most appealing. So, in her dark form, she can gain a nice spread of different Super Awakenings, more healing potential, more skill boosts, a 7 combo or a VDP depending on your needs. But she already has triple 10 combo. She has the L Unlock Awakening, which means she can take the like assist, like recovery latent. Now it's only a single L, which is obviously only going to put 1 turn back on, but you can make the arguments that there are going to be instances where even just a single turn of getting back your assists a little sooner can make a notable difference. It's just nice to have that option, or you just use it to actually unlock the board, which is always a delightful aspect. So with triple 10 combo, she hits incredibly hard. With that extra 7 combo, even harder, or just take the skill boost plus for 4 skill boosts. She has this wonderful 5-turn active skill, which is a full cleric active skill of Bind, Awoken Bind, and Unmatchable, and then on a single turn delay, you get to void attribute absorption for a single turn. Now, that is quite valuable. Like, a 5-turn full cleric active skill is great because there are many instances where there are reasonably close like encounters where you get Awoken Bind and or Unmatchable somewhat back-to-back, and having a short cooldown cleric is necessary. And in all honesty, clerics are going to be utilized on basically every given team for the most part, so you want to have ideally the best type of cleric you can, and Alynna is definitely bringing that to the table overall. But on top of that, if you know the dungeon well enough, you can actually utilize her active skill, the floor, prior to the attribute absorption, and then solve the attribute absorption aspect on the subsequent floor or subsequent turn. So if you, again, like, it's just great having a full cleric active skill with a chance to solve additional problems. But again, hard hitting card, L, possibly more skill boosts or even harder hitting, and then great healing potential with 4 enhanced Heart Orb Awakenings and a hefty RCV stat. She's going to actually be pumping in large amounts of healing overall. And I guess in theory, like, her leader skill gives you great bulk, but like, she doesn't technically make dark or hard orbs, which might make your life a little bit awkward. But more so, the point of the matter is, I feel like she's a wonderful cleric, one of the best clerics you're going to have in dark form at this point in time, so why not take advantage of Valentine's Alynna if you actually have the trade fodder? Because I feel that like clerics and absorption solution cards tend to have great long-lasting value because we're always going to need these cards unless Gung-Ho does like a ridiculous thing and just completely overhauls all their dungeons, but I don't really quite foresee that happening in the near future, or really just the future in general. So, with that being said, I feel that monster exchanging for Alynna and Akine can be in your favor if you play those types of teams and you have extra trade fodder that you're willing to sacrifice. Good news is, because it's April 1st, and if you are subscribed to the Pad Pass, there is the chance you pull additional Godfest exclusives, which can in turn be utilized as trade fodder. But again, I like to always keep at least 2 of a given card because you never know when these split evolutions or multiple weapon assists will come out, and you may want to have multiple copies of that given card. With that being said, let me know what you, ladies and gentlemen, think about these 2 cards in the comment section down below. Do you think they're actually worth exchanging for? And if you did exchange for them, where have you been utilizing them? Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.